Hello, my name is Ramon, and today I am going to be talking about a project for my school that I'm attending right now online, and it's called Flatiron. It's a boot camp that trains people in full stack software engineering and is on Ruby on Rails. Um, First thing I would like to do is to tell you about the project. The project actually it's about scraping a website and using that information to display for the user. Also, in doing that, also we will write a CLI interface, a command line interface that will allow the user to query, the data that we scrape from the website. And for my project, I chose Craigslist, and I'm going to do um, demonstration of what the program does. So the program goes to this website, it grabs all the HTML from here, and then um, it takes the all of the names for the states. They're like H4. Like for this one right here, it uses the HTML head 4, so that was pretty easy to grab. Then I also need the cities. So all of this, the first time the program scrapes is going to scrape all of this. But the real information that I need for the user is actually on the city. So if somebody chooses Montana and those, let's say, Billings, then it'll come here. And since I forgot to mention that my program, basically my gem, it's a CLI gem. What it does is scrapes for anything that has to do with Apple. So, and then Apple products, they're right here on the cell phones, and it'll have three parameters also to look for. One of them is going to be the fact that it has to have an image. Then it will have to be new, and then it will have to be an Apple product. So once you do that, my scraper it will come to this web page right here with all of these parameters that are sending for the HTTP request for that particular for this particular website, and then it'll scrape everything on here, all the items, so we can inspect it, and it's going to grab this. It's going to grab this class right here, which is a result row class that has everything. It has like all the rows as you can see it. And then within the row, I'm going to grab the price. I'm going to grab the link, and I'm also going to grab a little description. So which to me, which is this one right here, and it tells you, about the products. And then in my program, actually, I also recommend that people, whoever uses the program, or whether it's another program, then to do a minimum of 150, because you have all this, you have all this, you have some other things like this one right here is a Murphy juice pack. I mean, you still can do it, but if you're looking for an iPhone or a watch, a pad, like it's not 25, so you want to do it more, or like maybe at least more than 150. So the next thing is I'm going to take you to a demo, and this is how the program is already running. And so my program executable file, it lives in the bin, and I call it Get Apple Products. So you will just hit enter, and it will query, and then it'll ask you, do you want to exit or do you want to scrape? Let's exit first just to test that out. So you see it exits, and then let's go back into the program again, And this time I'm gonna do scrape. And then the cool thing about it is you remember, like I'm using the HTML that I grabbed from the about page of Craigslist to display all the states that we have, all 50 states, and they are actually being displayed 5 at a time. And so I did that because I didn't want the user to type California, District of Columbia, such a long, so I try to give them, try to make it easier for them. So I'm gonna type California, and then I am going to, let's say, I'm gonna do San Francisco, and I'm gonna do 19. And then it's the cool thing about my program also that it translates that number into the state and the city, as you can see right here. Then it asks you, please enter price higher than 150. So I'm gonna do 250, and here they are. So it comes in, like I told you, it goes through, says the following items were found and according to your parameters. And you have, an iPhone, you have the link of the iPhone, and then you also have the city where the iPhone was, where the iPhone is found. And based on that, you can go and buy your own iPhone. So another cool thing about it is that I have another loop here because, sometimes you may have a query that has 150 entries, so you don't want to put all those, in at one time. So I give the flexibility of the user to do to choose like 5. So you can hit next. If you want, you can type next, and it'll give you the next 10. That's one cool thing about it. So there's another loop going on there. And then the other cool thing that I wanted to use is like if you wanted to get more information about the item, it tells you enter the number to see the link phone on the browser. So if you want to do 10, and 10 is a really it'll say brand new seal unlock, and then that actually opens up the browser and it takes you to the link, and then you can check. You can see more information about the item. You can get the person's maybe information if you have it there. So I'm gonna go back to the program again. And then again, it's in a loop, so it'll tell you next more. So I'm just gonna exit, and then that brings you back to the main menu, and then I'm gonna exit again. So now I'm gonna walk you through through the gem that I built, and I have to find it. Let's see, what is this one here? So that was my SQL that I was working on. Here it is. So the name of my gem is called Apple File. I call it Apple File because it basically describes a person. It's not even a word, but it describes a person that likes Apple products. And here are all the files that we have. We have a bin file here, where is the executable file, and that's what you were seeing there. And then it's called in this class, which is the CLI class. And it's using, I actually built this program 2 different ways. I built it without the namespacing calling, which I use to require all gem, and it allowed me to do that. And actually, both versions you can download both version, from the gem, from rubygems.org. But I went back to this because, I think it's what the requirement was for the school. I also built myself a config environment here file because, again, I wanted to load all the lib files without me having to do it here in the applefile.rb. So as you can see right here, it'll load all these files, like it'll load the command line, the Craigslist, the item already in there because of this. And then here is the module, which is the namespaces that I'm using, for like calling here the CLI. And the other version, actually, I don't even have this. I have the applefile.rb, which is needed, of course, for a gem, but this right here I don't have. And then I also went ahead and built. I built tests for the classes, with the exception of the command line interface, because I don't know, it's just, it was like a lot, and it uses puts and it uses gets that jump, and that gets really complicated trying to see when somebody enters the right information. So that would be something that I would like to ask later, and as I go into the course. So let's start first with the Craigslist. So the Craigslist is basically the scraper class that I have. And here I have included Notebook.Jerry, the Open URI, and the Pride for testing. Then here's the module, and then the name of my class. And I got attribute accessors for the site and the document. The first function that we see here is the initialize function, and then I have set this instance variable called assign URL to Craigslist.org about sites, and that's where it comes here, guys, and it grabs actually the information. Sorry, all of this right here. So basically, when initialize, it comes here and it grabs all the information that you have from the HTML, but I'm only using US, by the way. And then, of course, I use the Notebook.Jerry and to store it on a local variable. Oh no, not a local variable, an instance variable called doc. First function I would like to check out is going to be, or method, it's going to be the get state names. And that was very easy to do because all the states, it's on this class, actually, it's on this HTML class, and they all lay on the call mask. And I'm going to take you here. So as you can see it, like if you look at the inspect on the for this, you see that it's a div, and you can grab every single state. And that's what I did on this. And then I'm using collect to return an array of all the name of the states, and I'm converting the CSS that comes from the H4, and I'm converting it to a text. Not converting it, but I'm saying give me that, and I just want the text. So I want this part right here. So, and then the next thing, so that returns an array. So you have the array, and you can do anything with the array, and you'll see how I'm going to use it later. Then I have the get state cities. And in that case, the reason why I made this there were two reasons why I made these two methods is because, again, to give this effect of having the states and the cities. So here you will need the state, you already have it, which after you do that, and then here the get state cities. It's actually it's also actually another array that returns the cities, all the cities that belong to that particular state. So what it does is, for example, if it comes to Illinois right here, then it'll give you all of this, the names of all those cities right here. And that's what it does right there. But it uses actually a state city, and then I have this method right here called state city links, which is I use it as a private helper method right here, and basically I put in, when I built it, I said, oh, I can just make a hash with the key value that is unique by the state name, and then I can put in, I can have the hash point to an array that has elements of hashes, and then every city and every link. And you will think, why would you do the city and the link? I use it for later, okay? Because I'm gonna use, that's why I call it state city links, because this method can give you either the cities. If you query this method, you can query it based on the cities, according to, later on you'll see, or you can do the link also. And once you can have you can use it and you can have, wherever you call in this method from, you can have it either return the city or the link or both. It doesn't matter. But I think I just wanted to place it together because the city and the links go together, because basically what you make it mimicking is clicking here and taking you to that city. So, and you get this link right there. So going back again, this returns the hash, and this is what my get state city method here does. It goes through the hash, and it says, if you find the state, then give me all those cities right here. Give me all the arrays. But because this is an array, so I have an array here called state cities, and I said I want you to put it in another array. So I created two arrays, a two-dimensional array. So, and then I have to flatten it to get, just the regular array for the city. The next one is going to be return city link, which it has two parameters again, the state and the city. And it says return a link of a particular city, find the state. And I have a lot of notes here because as I was using, doing my pseudocode, I was like, what do I need to do in order for me to grab just the city, the city link of this? So I have another helper function here. It's a private function that is called state cities, and this state city is actually it's a two-dimensional array that has I queried the HTML, and I put all the cities with their links. So you have, for example, you have city A, link A, you have city B, link B, you have city C, link C, and then you have, another city. So, you can start another state with the different cities. And you can see how I was making notes as I was going. So you get a two-dimensional array with this. So once it's an array and you return the array, you collect all the cities. And the cities, as you can see, I'm going to take you back to that web. You see how some cities, they have Bloomingdale with this break in the middle, normal, or you have the slash right here. So /. So what I'm doing here is breaking it up and saying, look, just break it into where you see the slash, and then just give me, in the strip that city, and then give me the link. And then I return the two-dimensional array with all the cities that is being used here by the return city link, and it goes through it, and it goes to the key and the value of it goes through the key and the value of the state cities links. Then I want to go through this great, and then the last one that I have is, I don't know where I have this great city URL, which again is going to return an array, and it says here returns an array of hashes for every link found on the phone. So what I'm doing really is just going here, and let's say I'm querying the city of Billings, and then I have it here, and then I do the query. So it'll return an array of all this right here, like 0, 1, 2, and so on and so on. And then basically, but before it does that, it needs to go into this. I'm gonna inspect this real quick, and it's gonna grab, like I think I showed you earlier, it's gonna grab the price, it's going to have the link, like you can see it here in the info. Okay, so I don't want to go through that again. So I'm just then I build the hash. So it's going to be an array of hashes actually for me to use later when I'm building items. And so that's the script. The item and the city actually they were both really easy to put together because all I needed, the hardest part that I had to do was finding the finding the relationship between the two models. And my relationship was that that an item belongs to a city, which is right here, as you can see it. Okay, and then a city has many items, which is right here, which is through this array and this function right here. So as the item initialize is pretty straightforward because it just initializes a. I was actually also practicing meta programming, and I just decided to do a hash, and so it just grabs the hash and it sets, uses the accessor and attributes here with the keys, and it says, just put the value whenever it is. You can have a nil. You don't even have to send it any values because that happens later when I show you, like for example, for item, because an item belongs to a city. So I make that association here later, which I'm gonna go through with it again. I'm gonna go over it. So that's the item. And then the city here, it goes back. So the city has I made three methods for it. These are some of the attribute. It has a name, it has a state, and it has a city URL, which is being used later. I have an all here. I really don't need any of this. I just put it in there because it seems like, I thought maybe I would use it, but absolutely not. So again, I'm using the attributes, city attributes hash right here that uses meta programming. And then we're going to go through the add item, and this is where the association, there has many association happens, guys. So I have an item, and then I assign it to the city to it, and then I save it into the array, and then I return the item because I want to see what kind of item I was getting. And then the last one is the get Apple products by price, which is, remember when I on the program, it shows this part right here with the big blue right here. So, and then this one is pretty easy because it's just an array, and it says, give me the collect or select only the prices that are greater than or equals to the set price. And those are the model. The next model that I made was the CLI, which is the command line interface. And I'm going to go through it really quick. I have a bunch of helper functions because I wanted to refactor the code. The biggest one that I have is this one, but it has a lot of comments here too. And also, I didn't feel like refactoring because I have been taking a long time to make this project because I did it 3 times. I did it, I wrote the program actually like in a day and a half. It took me to make it run and work, but I did it without having it to do with the gem. I just did it, like a different way. And so because I wanted to learn about require all and I wanted to know about require relative. So all that stuff was, so I have fun practicing. I also even try to incorporate the gem into a Ruby on Rails application, which I already know how to use, but I couldn't do it. I guess the Rails, the Ruby that I'm using, or the Rails that I'm using has, like it doesn't do it like many of the videos that I chose, of the that I read about. So first thing is called the run. So the run method takes on like all the responsibility to make sure that is calling all the necessary methods and for the user to grab the information they need. I have a local variable here called choice, which it says while choice not equals to exit. So choice at the beginning is an empty string, and it lets you get into the loop. And then as long as your choice is not equals to exit, you can keep, staying, on this loop. And then the first thing that I call is a display main menu, which is a function that is going to return, a method that's going to return the user's inputs. Excuse me for a second. And that's for a function right here. So here I have some special effects, right here, like so you can see them right here, different color. And I also forgot to mention that in my gem file, I also added and bundle install the colorize gem and the require all gem, because I saw those in some of the programs that we were using before that were given us as examples for Flatiron School. So I installed that to give it this really nice effects right here, and I just make a bunch of stars just to know the difference, where to try to tell the user where you are, where they were. And then I use the puts, and then I grab the input. And then it comes right here, and it says if the choice is equals to scrape, then get the menu input. So that's another function call, again, more refactoring. And the first thing that the get menu input method does is displays. It grabs all the HTML. Remember what I said to you at the beginning? It grabs all the HTML that came with the Notebook Jerry. It grabs all the HTML that comes from this model right here, which is right here, and it says, just give me the name of the states, and it displays the name of the states, and then I have another function that displays the name of the state. So the displays name of the state, it uses an instance variable of type Craigslist, which is my model right here, which I declare right here. And again, I'm using the namespacing, Apple file. And then so it says, just give me that. Remember now, the scrape has this instance variable, now has these two attributes in them. It has the site URL and it has the Notebook Jerry HTML. So this one comes here, and it's an instance variable, so I have access to it, and it just calls the get state names. And it calls get state names, and it says just give me the state names, and then I'm using I go through, what does this get state name return? Let me see. I'm sorry. It's an array, so it goes through all the states, and that's why I flattened the arrays, because now I can say Alabama, Arkansas, and just print them, and then let's do it says let's do a mod. So every time you do a 5, you see a 5, and I'm using the index actually to make sure to know that when it comes to 5, anything that is divisible by 5, then just give me a end of line right here. And then once you print those, then give me another end of line. And so it goes into here. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the line, and then it gets here, and then it gives me another end of line. So when I say please enter a number for a state you'd like to scrape, it won't come up here. Okay, so then it says put the state you like to scrape, and then right here is where you get the input. And this is the cool part about it, is that instead of you having to do the name, the whole name, I said, just put the number. So you put the number, and then I created a convert to state function that takes that array, um, and it takes the converted state, and then it takes the display cities. Oh, I'm sorry. The display cities right here, and it just wait. I'm sorry. I scraped convert to state. So sorry. So when I say it takes the input for the state and it converts it to it. So I'm going to go to that convert to state, and remember that I'm getting the get the state name is it's an array. So I say just give me if let's say I say Alabama, which I think is the first state. Here is it? Yes. Okay. So and Alabama has an index of 0. So I'm taking that one and converting it to the index and say, give me that name. And then that's how I am able, and it's the same thing for the cities. And that's how I'm able to say, you have chosen the state of California and the city of San Francisco, instead of saying you have chosen the state of, 5 and the city of where San Francisco of 19. So all those little effects, all those little things, they're right here. Both of this convert city, they do that. Then we come back here to, we're still in the get menu inputs. I do the same thing for the city. I convert the city, and then I describe what we had, for this particular, for what you just, like for what the user has. The next thing, so it gets out of this get menu input, and it calls the create items from array. And the create item from array actually has more functions within functions. So first I have another function called scrape apple products. It evaluates a function and then calls create items. But the scrape apple products has another function. So we evaluate in 3 functions. So we are going to go first to create item from array, and then I'm sending an array, phone arrays, as you can see right here. Do you receive this one? Yes. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm doing a video. I didn't know.
You find I'm still waiting for someone.
Do you think, can you guys give me like 5-10 minutes? Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. I guess my time is up, so I'm gonna try to be faster. So, but basically the create items, what it does, it has the phone arrays, and the phone array is empty. If it's empty, it says, just say, you couldn't find anything, and then call the get menu again. And then if the get menu, and then this is a recursive call to the same function, and it basically just brings you back in again right here. So if it's empty, then just call yourself and then come back here, and then and this is when I start building the cities, with the hashes, and then I take the phone array, and then I start building items and adding them to the city. So now cities, items have it. And then I have a display Apple product info, which is actually the display Apple. It is going to be used later by grab Apple products. So all of those 4 functions evaluated to this. And now I call grab Apple products, which is this function right here. And then grab Apple product calls display Apple product info, which is this one right here. And this is the other loop. That's the loop right here that we're talking about, that does this effects also. And you can link it to, the webs, to the link of the phone that you want. And basically that's what it is. And I have another helper function here, choice, for this choice, which is a different local variable. And then that's it, guys. I hope you like the video. And I have my link down there. And if you have any question about the gem, please let me know. Take care.